Hey, RetconRaider here, with special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Revenant, Alois, Anerdinwarpaint, Dragon Matrix 7, Eerie V23, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, Kazorm, Lima, Nathan Welch Jr., Tomasz, Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, let's get started.
The commander of the Crusade has managed to overthrow 70 years of demonic rule in Drezen and restored the Sword of Valor to its rightful place. Will the commander be able to defend the banner he has won with such a valiant effort?
Yeah, that is definitely Arilu Vorlesh. She is narrating our adventure. That's probably not a great sign, but I guess we'll see where that goes. Also, welcome back to Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. Yeah, we're still playing this game. Just needed a short break between Acts 2 and 3 to recharge my batteries. This is apparently the biggest and most involved of the game's 5 acts. We've got a lot more territory to explore, a lot more dungeons to crawl, a lot more dialogue to read. Not to mention we've now got access to the full Crusade system, so we'll need to get multiple armies going, set up outposts, recruiting stations. We've got a lot of ground to cover, so let's get into it.
Knight Commander! I know you have not had time to sit in on any council meetings in recent days. You've been so busy restoring order in Drezen that you've barely found time to sleep.
Irabeth gives you a deferential salute.
However, there are some matters that require your attention. I am ready to report if you have a moment.
Yeah, sure, why not? What you got for me?
Thank you, Knight Commander. The Crusade forces liberated Drezen quickly. The demons did not have time to recover from their defeat in Canabris. Every death is an irretrievable loss, but your leadership has minimized such losses as much as possible. Morale is high among the Crusade forces. The battle for Drezen went brilliantly. Your party attacked the demon commanders, cutting off the head of the enemy forces. We suffered some losses, but nevertheless it was a triumph. Queen Galfrey has been notified already, and sent her messenger with a letter for you and a royal reward.
Irabeth gives you a letter. To the Commander, from the Queen. Commander, the written word is a poor medium by which to convey my thanks, but it is the only one open to me at present. With this missive I enclose a reward worthy of a leader of a victorious host, a cloak of a warrior of Iomedae. But it, and these words of praise, are but a fraction of the accolades you deserve. The Crusader armies acted with skill and coordination. Drezen has been returned to us, as has the Sword of Valor. I am astonished by the reports of how the Holy Relic has changed. But I recognize that what truly matters is our victory. Your victory. May it be the first of many. Accept my valediction and thanks. I prayed for your success, and I shall continue my prayers. In anticipation of a meeting in the near future, Galfrey. Ah, well that was certainly nice of her. And it's true, I am pretty awesome. Side note there, I believe if we had actually invited her along to accompany us on the Crusade, then she would have also given us a ring of protection. Then again, that would have also put us under much closer scrutiny, which I feel is something that Vex would have definitely chafed under.
In any case, we would never have won if it weren't for your amazing powers. The moment you raised the Sword of Valor over the Citadel, the light of it must have been visible all the way back in Mendev. And the banner itself, it changed after coming in contact with you. Anyone else would call it sacrilege. I don't know what to make of it myself. It's surprising and strange. Permission to speak freely. I must admit that I've nursed doubts about your ability to lead an army more than a few times. You don't seem to take this seriously at all. Like the war is just a joke to you. But you keep winning again and again. Your orders seem crazy sometimes, but they lead us to victory. That means I should trust you, even if I don't always understand you.
Man, Irabeth, I don't know what to say. Yeah, I guess I am pretty great, and I respect you for acknowledging that. You know what I think the real problem with the Crusaders is that all of you guys take this way too serious. Maybe if you all lightened up a bit, you'd have an easier time making some headway out here.
There you go again. How can the commander of the Crusade talk like that? There's no such thing as too serious when it comes to this. Although, if you can do what other, more serious military commanders failed to do, even with all your joking around.
Irabeth trails off and shrugs.
We won the battle for Drezen, but this war is far from over. The demons know our true strength, so we must brace ourselves for a merciless counterattack. They will do everything they can to gain control of the city and destroy you personally, and all of us along with you. The only good news is that cultists make up more than half of their forces, so they will have to march the same roads as our fighters. If they were all demons, they could appear here instantaneously and lay siege to the city. Praise Iomedae for small mercies. The main demon forces are moving out from the City of Eyes and the Threshold Fortress. Scouts are reporting that for now, we don't stand a chance of tearing through the defense and launching a counterattack. We can only gather our forces, rebuff their attacks, and wait for the right moment. Unfortunately, other hostile groups keep appearing out of nowhere. And on top of all that, Minago is still prowling around somewhere out there. Anevia is trying to find out where that Abyss scum has run off to. Maybe she's already got some leads. Luckily, we are not alone. Mendev is with us. Queen Galfrey has sent us the first reinforcements. They've just entered the city. Besides, news of your victory is spreading through Avestan. I'm sure that crowds of new volunteers will soon be pouring into Drezen, inspired by your feat. And that's very good news, because we're going to need troops. Here is a brief report about the main problems we're currently facing.
Irabeth shows you a sheet of paper with a list of 4 items. Demons with special powers, secret path, missing patrol, and dragon. Sorry, yes, I'm still listening. What's this about super demons? That sounds cool.
Remember that Nabasu that attacked our camp? He had powers that no ordinary demon should have.
Irabeth's voice is very calm, but you can tell she's working hard to maintain her composure.
It is not the only demon of its kind. We keep receiving reports about similar monsters. All isolated cases for now. But it's possible that in the future, we will see entire squads, if not armies of them. We must find out where they're coming from. Find the source of their power and destroy it. If we don't, they will crush us before long. Even you can't defeat an entire army of such monsters.
Well, not with that attitude, I can't. Fortunately, I brought my own. What's this about a secret path? What's going on with that?
We can usually spot armies of demons in advance, as their hordes march along the Grey Road from Eyes or Threshold. But sometimes packs of them appear out of nowhere. They're managing to avoid our scouts somehow and sneaking into our territory. If we don't solve this problem, we cannot attack. The demons will just appear at our backs, block off the gorges and cut us off from Drezen.
Irabeth frowns.
Anevia is trying to find out how the demons are getting into our territory, but she hasn't succeeded yet. Talk to her. She will tell you more about what she's doing.
Sure, yeah, I'll chat her up. You know, that might have something to do with that missing patrol.
Yes, it disappeared without a trace during a mission. We didn't even find any bodies. Maybe someone abducted them, or there's some natural threat in the area. And we can't rule out the possibility of desertion, either. The troop was patrolling the southern road out of the city. The last surviving settlements of Socorus lie in that direction. But after the siege of Drezen, contact with them was lost. Hardly any of the inhabitants survived once the demons invaded the area. That's where I started the search.
Or they got eaten by this dragon. What can you tell me about that? That feels like it might be kind of a big deal.
As if we didn't have enough problems with demons already. Now there's a wild dragon in the vicinity. Luckily, it's not part of the demon army. If the demons had a dragon on their side, it could pose a serious threat. But there's very little food in the World Wound, and the dragon doesn't seem to have a taste for demons and cultists. She keeps attacking small squads of crusaders, picking off those who fall behind, ravaging supply trains. The dragon's been sighted frequently in the sky, but we don't know exactly where her lair is. We have someone to help with this, though. Do you remember the dwarf who bravely attacked the Baylor in front of the Citadel during the siege? He is back in the city, and he doesn't mind hunting this dragon, apparently. Go talk to him in the tavern. We might be able to help each other.
You mean the guy who tried to steal my kill and then let it get away? Yes, I do remember him. I wouldn't mind having some words with him. Is that it? Anything else?
There are a few pleasant matters. At the Queen's command, the Crusaders who took part in the attack have had their pay doubled, and medals will be awarded to those who were particularly outstanding in battle. You know one of them. The Knight Elan from the Houndhearts. He led a troop of Nerosian recruits and brought them to the main forces, and later drew the demons' attention in the battle with the Baylor, allowing the wounded to be rescued. There is one more thing. As you know, there is a vast dungeon under Drezen. It's empty now. None of those imprisoned by the demons survived, and we don't have any new prisoners. We've temporarily placed the body of Staunton Vane in the dungeon. You slew him. What are your orders regarding his body? Anevia thinks we should burn it quietly and forget about it. Some want to see his corpse displayed in the square, but I don't think we should behave like demons and barbarians. He may have been our enemy, but he deserved to be buried as a knight. However, the decision is yours, of course.
Staunton. Man, I still feel bad for him. I mean, look, I know he betrayed everyone, but he did it to find some way to end his life of misery. And, we did that for him. I don't see much point in messing with his corpse. It's gross and unsanitary. Just roll him in a ditch, call it a day.
Right you are, Commander. Commander, that day during the battle,
Irabeth is hesitating. You can see the struggle on her face, as if she doesn't know whether she should say something else.
No, my apologies. That is all, Commander. Thank you for your time.
Giving a salute, Irabeth turns around and quickly leaves. Poor gal. Yeah, war is tough. That's something that gets glossed over in a lot of these fantasy games. Even a single fight can be pretty traumatizing, let alone a full-blown war. Man, we have so many things to do now. But yeah, we'll do what we can to rally Irabeth, get her back into fighting shape. She went through a lot back at the Lost Temple, and, a lot of stuff even before that. I don't think Vex would make light of it. I mean, heck, he's probably pretty messed up himself. He just masks it behind perpetual snark. Not to mention the occasional explosion of ultraviolence. We have left quite a trail of bodies behind us. Okay, so we now have our main city. I would like to catch up with our companions, meet some of the key players around town, including Greybor. But let's start off simple. We'll head inside, get some groundwork laid. I've never done Trickster, so I mean, we're really just playing this by ear. A tall, lean man enters the hall. He has dark hair, pointed ears, and his pale skin is covered in intricate tattoos. At first glance, it would be easy to mistake him for an elf, if his eyes were not so unusual. They are not just dark, as is common among elves, but entirely black and devoid of life. As you stare into their empty nothingness, it is as if the abyss itself is staring back at you. His face seems familiar. You look more closely, and you realize you saw this stranger during the assault on the Grey Garrison. Back then, he laughed at the prank you played on the cultist with the barrels of explosives, and then disappeared. Commander Vex Godglove. The visitor seems to take pleasure in the sound of your name, caressing each syllable with his black tongue, and licking his pierced lips suggestively before offering you a charming smile. Yep, that's me. And you are... Who I am doesn't matter right now. What matters is who you are. I've been watching you for a long time. Since the day you began your journey to the heights of glory. You still have a long way to go before you reach the pinnacle, but what if I could help you take the next step? Some very powerful and wise beings will soon be holding a meeting at the council, where they will decide what is to be done about the world wound. You would be a welcome guest at this meeting. Council? What council? No. The visitor wags a long, manicured finger at you. Save all the questions for the council. The walls have ears, after all. Please, join us and we will explain everything. When you are ready, look in the closet in your chambers. Bidding you farewell with a playful wink, the visitor vanishes into thin air. Very intriguing. A middle-aged paladin with a genial face salutes you. His sparse gray hair stands in fuzzy tufts on his head, giving him a distinctly unwarlike appearance. Everbright Crusaders reporting for duty. My name is Ciar Morveg, and I am at your service. Queen Galfrey is gathering the main attack forces in Nerosian. She ordered us to replenish the losses suffered in Canabris and come here. We will support your troops. A tall, dark-haired lad is standing behind Ciar. He passionately echoes Ciar's words. We are ready to go to the front immediately. Allow us to be at the spear of the attack. The old Crusader calls the young man to order. Morveg, don't speak unless spoken to. Don't worry, no one will be defeating any demons without you. Ciar smiles kindly and tousles the boy's hair. Who's this you've brought with you? I like his style. Everbright Crusaders mainly, but we have a lot of volunteers who joined us. Those who arrived at the Queen's call but didn't want to sit in Nerosian waiting for the main army to set off. All the hotheads know that the front is here. Ciar nods at the boy behind him, the one who's eager to fight. We picked up this one, too. He walked to Canabris with an old sword in his hand, and a few copper coins in his pocket. He was going to keep walking to kill the demons, and then he would have probably laid siege to Threshold, no doubt. The boy's cheeks go pink at the old man's gentle mockery, but he continues to stare ahead, resolutely and boldly. The Everbright Crusaders fought in Canabris, right? How's that place doing, anyway? Not personally, no. The Queen summoned me and the bulk of our order to Nerosian. Almost all who remained behind in Canabris died, and the ones that didn't were disorganized and leaderless. But the order did not perish. New volunteers have been pouring into our ranks. We are licking our wounds. Canabris is rebuilding. Life wins out. People are coming from all over Avestan to help. Many are joining up with the Crusaders, just as it happened back in the First Crusade. Cool, okay, I guess that means you're working for me then. Welcome aboard. The Crusader gives you a friendly smile. It's an honor for us, Commander. Let's give the demons a dusting. We'll sweep away their defenses, wipe out their heavy hitters, and mop up what's left. It'll make for a very clean battlefield. Look who it is. Hi. Nevi, what's up? Hey, have you figured out how these demons keep sneaking up on our guys? Anevia answers with scarcely concealed irritation. No dice. Our scouts crawled all over the area, down every hole. Inappropriate. Nothing. The Grey Road was completely empty, and then, bam! A whole army popped up like a jack-in-the-box. My only lead is a few scouts who didn't come back from the gorges to the southwest. But we've found no sign of secret paths or underground passageways, and definitely no route we can use to quietly move a large force through. But I feel it in my gut. There's some evil scum out there. We just have to look harder. Of course, I could send out more scouts, but they might just disappear like the first ones. Why don't you go out there yourself and find out what's what? Right, because I am far less important than some expendable scouts. Gotcha. So Nevi, what do you think about my awesome new powers? Anevia gives you a long look, her lips quirking up at the corners. I don't know what to think of all this. You're a total mystery to me. And I usually don't like mysteries. But you're different. Your crazy stunts somehow make me think that, just maybe, this whole nightmare might suddenly end, by pure fluke, on a positive note. I'm no expert on these things, but, I think that's what hope feels like. She is a follower of Desna, so she'd be a lot more open to this sort of shenaniganery. Any idea where Minago got herself off to? Anevia shakes her head sharply. Nope, zero, zilch. A whole lot of nothing. The scum melted into thin air. Soldiers saw her jump out the window, run through the square in front of the Citadel, and suddenly disappear. We haven't heard anything from her since, and I don't like it. I'm telling you, this is bad. Yeah, that does seem odd. First of all, her kind don't just give up. If we can't see her, it means she's just setting up a trap for us somewhere we won't expect. I mean, it would be great if the Demon Lords just gobbled her up for all her failures, but I think that's too much to hope for. But that's not the worst part. We have a more interesting question, you know. I wonder how she teleported from the city, if by that time you'd already hung up the banner. The soldiers are saying it probably wasn't in full force by then, but you and I both know that's dross. She wasn't supposed to be able to teleport, but she did. The question is, how? I mean, disappearing doesn't necessarily denote teleportation. Invisibility, illusion, maybe even just a really well-hidden secret passage. There are a lot of possibilities. Alright, Nevi. I'll let you get back to it. Alright. you watch yourself now. Yeah, that's what I do best. Hey, Regil. And you don't have anything to say about all this. Fair enough. Irabeth's eyes are vacant. Her thoughts are clearly somewhere far away. Seeing you, though, she snaps to attention. Hail, Commander. Hey, Beth, look, we should really talk about, the whole Drezen thing. Irabeth looks away. I was shamefully weak-hearted. The battle for Drezen is a black stain on my honor. I don't know what came over me, but I don't deserve to be a knight, still less a commander. Under the circumstances, leaving my position would be tantamount to desertion. Still, as your advisor, I strongly recommend you release me from my position as head of the Order, strip me of my knighthood, and send me to serve in the Condemned. Yeah, let's not do that. That didn't really work out great for the last guy. Okay, look, I'm not going to coddle you here. You didn't do great in Drezen. I mean, that wasn't a stellar performance. But you did build the Eagle Watch. You did a great job backing Canabris. I'd love to keep you on if you could maybe, get your shit together. I feel like that's not asking too much. The Eagle Watch. And what did it achieve? Who did it save? Maybe it would have been better for all of us. Irabeth's voice sinks into indistinguishable mumbling. Wow, we are not good at this. The half-orc salutes you, but the broken woman's gesture seems weak and forced. You barely recognize the Irabeth who protected the defender's heart to the end. We will triumph, definitely. We'll do everything we can, even if it's not much. So, how's the Eagle Watch doing these days? Everything is going well. I was wary of handing over the reins at first. I was afraid that everything would fall apart without Anevia and me. But I took a risk and left a very clever lad in charge. A tiefling, as it happens. He infiltrated the cult alone. They couldn't imagine a tiefling wouldn't be on their side. He exposed an entire cell. I personally knighted him, just before the city was attacked. Of course, there were many who weren't happy about that, but it's not my job to make people happy. Yeah, I get that. He hasn't disappointed. He has built up the Order's ranks again, and is running everything so smoothly, it's as if the demon attack never happened. He's proven more than once that I left Canabris in good hands. But I admit, it's still strange to think that such a small order as the Eagle Watch now has 2 chapters, one in Drezen and one in Canabris. And this is a retread, I think? Yeah, this looks to be the same stuff we could talk to her about back in Canabris. Just, possibly slightly tweaked. But, hey, free chance to boost her confidence. I'll take that. I'm not sure that actually helps, but it certainly can't hurt. So, Irabeth, while I was taking Staunton's Keep, I found this in Joran Vane's smithy. Thought you might want to have it back? Praise Iomade. Irabeth takes the sword as gently as if it were a living creature, and sheathes it in its scabbard. I don't know what to say. I am forever indebted to you. I never thought I'd get my sword back. Please, allow me to reward you, and please, no objections. I could never replace this sword. I shall never part with it again. I swear. Good to hear. Hopefully that helps you feel better. I guess I will see you around. Irabeth says goodbye with a short bow. Yeah, that probably could have gone better overall, but I will take my 50,000 gold and be on my way. Being a commander is hard. Anyway, let's do some commanding. So yes, we now have full access to the Crusade system. It's essentially a pared-down version of... Yes, thank you. Of the settlement system from Kingmaker. We're essentially tasked with gathering resources and then channeling them into running and maintaining the Fifth Crusade through individual armies, outposts, and through various special event resolutions, which will each in turn hurt or hinder our efforts. Speaking of which, it looks like we've actually got 2 pending events down in the bottom waiting for us. So let's start with that. Vagrants. A crowd of the destitute, the sick, and the feeble-minded has arrived in Drezen, and they are asking to be admitted. Their lives are rough, they have no place where they belong, and they wish to die as heroes at the very least. But the Crusaders do not wish to fight side by side with these vagrants either. 100 low-end troops, at the cost of morale. Not a great trade. Ongoing material gain, but at the cost of an even greater hit to morale. That's a maybe. No change. Oh, and a large increase to material income and a small boost to morale. So why would we not take this one? I guess if we were playing an evil character and didn't want to take any good options. But Vex is chaotic neutral. Yeah, we'll go with the hospital. Arushale set up a hospital for the poor souls in Drezen. The healers care for the sick, and they help the supply units in gratitude. Oh, okay, that makes more sense. I bet if we hadn't recruited Arushale early, we would not have been able to pick that option. Generally speaking, the bottom option or two will be locked to a specific path or companion. In this case, the Angel Path and Arushale, respectively. Giants. A progressive alchemist by the name of Zagelforntz ran a series of experiments in an attempt to improve the potion of legendary proportions. But something went wrong. The soldiers who tasted his creation cannot return to their natural form, and have grown quite dim. However, the alchemist assures everyone that no harm has been done, since giants are more useful than ordinary soldiers, and the usefulness of intelligence in a soldier is debatable in the first place. Harsh, but okay. Let's see our options here. We could put them to work. I imagine that gets us extra materials. We could cure them, which would obviously bump morale. We could toss them into battle, but that's not practical if we can't recruit more on a regular basis. Or we could build a village for them. That's our bottom option, so it's either tied to a companion or the trickster path. That's interesting. I'm not sure what that would do. Alright, I'll bite. Living alongside former comrades would be difficult for the giants. They need a place where they can live by themselves, and slowly learn to coexist with the rest of the world. Land will help them find a place for a settlement, so they could start a new life there. The Crusade will only benefit from this arrangement. The Giants can supply Drezen with resources. The alchemist Zagelforns strongly endorses this decision. Okay, so that was a companion option tied to land. From the sound of it, it's essentially an enhanced version of that first option. Which I suppose brings us to special decrees, since they were mentioned in that previous event. These are essentially special orders we give to the Crusade. Most are one-shots, some are repeatable. They all have their own individual resource costs to get off the ground, and then a varying amount of time that it takes to actually complete enacting them. Much like in Kingmaker, there are 4 Crusade stats, and you can only have 1 decree for each stat running at a time, so it is important to prioritize what order you do them in. That said, let's have a look at our options here. The Fate of the Crest of the Fallen Knight. Diplomacy. That's one of the relic decrees. Those let us convert various trophies we recover into actual usable magic items, albeit at a fairly hefty cost, obviously. We've got some other decrees we should probably take care of first, so we'll come back to this one later. The Unholy Symbol of Rovagug. Chillroar's Hide and Tusks. Ooh, forming a staff council. Yes, we do want to get our councils formed. That's a prereq for several of the later events and upgrades. We could study the Sword of Valor. Probably unlocks a bonus, I imagine. The Fate of Soulshear is another relic quest. Forming a logistics council. Yes, please. Nemarius's Burning Brand. I don't remember us getting that. I don't think I've ever seen that. Upgrading an outpost. We can't afford that right now, but we will want to get to that relatively soon. Outposts are similar to the settlement mechanic from Kingmaker, slightly simpler. At their most basic, they grant a, I think, 2x2 grid for Tier 1 resource or recruiting buildings. But if you upgrade it to a bastion, then it grants you more space and lets you build higher tier buildings, such as a teleportal. We'll want to get at least 2 of those up and running relatively quickly. Diplomatic Council, yes please. And Lost Scouts, that's the one we got from Anevia. We'll get that one started once we've finished forming our Logistics Council. I'll also note that we could have actually skipped this step if we had arrested Nura instead of letting her go. In that case, we could have interrogated her and she would have given up various secrets about the current demonic activities. Not out of remorse, but more just because she doesn't care. I've already done that in a couple of my other test campaigns, so I am familiar with her fate there, but I am very curious to see what ends up happening with this route. Even if it does minorly inconvenience us in the short term. I guess that's it for decrees for now, but we'll have plenty more in the future. We had, did we form all 3 councils? No. There's a 4th council we haven't formed yet. But I guess we'll worry about that later. Right now, we'll focus on consolidating our armies. Because with all the new reinforcements they just sent us, we're scattered all over the place. And we are going to want to get at least 2 main armies ready to go. Eventually we might need 3, or even 4, to help defend all of our territory, but right now we just need 1 for offense and 1 for defense. Nice, nice. Yeah, I think we can use all of these. We have mounted scouts, too, don't we? Yeah, we got them from the Quartermaster event. There they are. Oh, let's get a general attached to that army too. Which I suppose will be another caster. Unless they've drastically improved warrior or hunter generals since the last time I did this. Casters still rule the day. What it really comes down to is whether we want bonus offense or bonus defense, +2 attack or +2 armor class. And I am thinking defense. Welcome aboard, Magister Pilkwell. You'll mostly be hanging back until we can get you a better army. Speaking of which, we've got some really nice high-end units here. But no way to replenish them just yet, so again, they'll have to hang back. Otherwise, they'll get wiped out in any serious fight. Sadly, we're very limited in what we can actually sustain this early in the campaign. Right now we just have basic infantry, basic archers, and then a small but expensive trickle of Hell Knights and clerics. So those are the main units we can rely on right now, because if we do lose any, we can replace them relatively easily. But we'll get access to more options as we start completing council events. That's your primary means of unlocking new unit types. Which does vary somewhat depending on your mythic path, so again, I'm curious to see what we end up gaining access to. Oh, that's not who I meant to move up. I wanted... these guys. I don't like that our armies are out of numerical order. Alright, now let's start getting Drezen set up. We don't have the resources or upgrades for a lot of stuff here, but we can at least set up some basics. Looks like they started us with archer and infantry barracks, plus two basic unit upgrade buildings. That's more than they did back at launch. The only problem being that I don't like my recruiting buildings being up here. That's normally where I put all of the really big buildings. And then we also have a supply center down at the bottom. Again, very basic resource gathering building, and it's fine where it is, I'll leave it there. Fortunately, we can destroy a building and then rebuild it for the same cost. So I am going to destroy these four here, and then rebuild them in the bottom quarter on the right. We'll eventually have 4 main recruitment buildings: archers, infantry, cavalry, and then a special one for whatever flavor of casters we happen to get as trickster. Bards, I'd imagine? Maybe, wild mages? Gnome illusionists, perhaps? But yeah, I'll set them up in the middle row here, then flank them on either side by upgrade buildings. That way we have a slightly easier time distributing those adjacency bonuses from the upgrade buildings. We need to budget for a teleportation circle, too. +1 attack. Yeah, that's good for all our martial units. Yeah, eventually we're going to have a cavalry stable set up here, but I guess that's not available yet. Then we'll have our caster barracks set up on the other side. They'll get like the more defensive-oriented buffs, like the hit point bonus. We still need that teleportation circle. And what the heck, let's do the training grounds too. We've got cash to spare. Now we'll just buy some mats for the teleportation circle, get that going. This is a big one because it will allow us to teleport back to Drezen from anywhere on the world map, which will save us weeks or even months of travel time throughout the campaign. Oh, shoot. You know what? I should have probably done the engineering guild first. Yeah, let's get that going first. We'll start the teleportation circle once it's done. We'll be sticking around town these first few days anyway. Okay, yeah, that takes care of most of the basics. We've got our armies forming up. We've got some basic infrastructure in place. We've got 3 of our 4 councils being formed. I guess we could set up an outpost. Yeah, 2x2 grid. And only the most basic buildings available. So that means each of these outposts is either going to be a very basic recruiting center or a very basic resource gathering center. I'll probably do all the ones on the right side of the map as resource gathering, and all the ones on the left side, the combat zone, as recruiting centers. With the most remote in either direction being bastions, where we'll set up teleportals for fast travel. Anyway, I think that's enough for now. That gets us in a pretty good place. Regil, your horse is becoming a table, which I guess... Actually, you know what? Horse tables are a thing, so I guess that's fine. Yeah, I'll let you deal with that. And we are past time, so I guess we should start winding down. Man, I was hoping we'd get more out of the way, but I guess we did do a fair chunk. I am very curious about the mysterious meeting we were invited to, but I'm also afraid that if I go in there too early, it'll trigger a special event or sequence of events that drags us away from Drezen before I can actually get things finished here. And I would like to track down Waljif, who is still MIA. Anyway, yeah. We'll hit the pause button for now. I will take stock of everything we have left to do around Drezen before we're ready for adventuring. And we will pick up here next time as we take care of all of the important broad strokes. And with any luck, we should be in a good place next time around to pop into the wardrobe and meet with our new wardrobe council. I mean, it has to be the Fae, right? We're trickster, so Fae just seems to go hand in hand with that. I guess we'll find out. See you then. Oh, and remember, although I do love playing Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous, you can find out more about the game by visiting the official website, the official social media feeds, or the official store pages. And if you'd like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things, or maybe even check out the Patreon. Links are in the description.
Anyone else would call it sacrilege. I don't know what to make of it myself.